Hey everyone, welcome back. So I wanted to film a quick November planner update just to kind of show you where I am with everything. I probably won't include my content calendar planner in this update because nothing's really changed that much with that. And so I'd rather show you the things that have been updated. So let's start with this, and I'll bring the power sheets into it in a little bit. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably noticed that I have changed planner covers, so this is not a surprise to you. This is my Vanderspec custom planner that I had made for me, I believe it was 2, maybe 3 years ago. I do still love this. It's the standard size, so personal. It's the Tortora Croco on the outside, and I believe the Barbie Napa, if I remember correctly, on the inside. It does show a little bit of wear. You can see kind of where the rings have put a little bit of dirt. There's maybe a little bit of dirt here on the inside where some of the cards were. I haven't tried to clean that off. To be honest, it doesn't really bother me that much. But otherwise, for 3 years, and granted I haven't used it the entire time, it actually looks pretty good. I have a little tiny pen smudge there, but that's it. So anyway, I have taken out what little deco I had in here aside from the first couple of sheets on the front. I needed the space for actual paper, so you'll notice that it's pretty much all paper at this point. The first section I have here is my reference section. This has not changed. I have my values, my goals, prioritizing questions. This comes from the Franklin Covey methodology. Pre-trip preparation, post-trip reset, which as you'll see, this is really going to be important to me in November. I have my master task list. So these are things that don't occur like monthly or more often. Kind of what my weekly routine tends to look like. Which actually I've made some changes to that, so I think I need to print out new copies of these. I have my daily routine at home, daily routine at work, and as I'm going through this, if the routine pages or the reference section here is something that appeals to you and you're looking for something similar, I do have a more generic version of this available in my Etsy store. You can find that link down in the description below. Daily routine, home, daily routine, work. I have my annual, quarterly, monthly review pages, and then weekly and daily. Behind the paperclip, I have 2 budget pages and the contact information for people at work. So obviously I keep that paper clipped off. And then I have my rule of life, which is something that I developed as part of my discernment period for Daughters of the King. So behind that, I have the areas of responsibility. This is information that's from my job description. And then I actually found these pages as I was cleaning out some stuff in my craft room. So I put them back in because I think it's interesting, or not interesting, it's good to have a list of things that I want to make sure I've included when I'm planning. So I have things I want to make sure I'm including kind of on a monthly basis, things on a weekly basis, and then daily priorities. And I really liked this question. Which ones do you want to commit to today? So I do actually want to start looking at that a little more often. After that, I have my work section. If you watched my last video on goal setting, I talked a little bit about how I've made changes to how I'm tracking work to-dos. I was tracking them in here. Right now, things are coming so fast and furious at me from external sources. I'm not as in control of my time right now, and rather than copying emails into a to-do list, I'm using OmniFocus, which allows me to actually just forward an email to the Omni server and it creates a to-do for me. So I'm doing that now. So the good news is I can actually show you a couple of the project pages I have in here. Mainly these are projects that I may need to add to while I'm on the go. I will be keeping this information also in OmniFocus, but the only reason I'm willing to duplicate it is because this is something I may need to add to kind of on the spur of the moment. So I have just kind of random lists of things I need to remember or things I need to do for my role as president next year for the Southern California Rental Housing Association. And then I have just some random information about our budget for our company. And then I started to make a project list for converting how our maintenance workflow. Right now we run all of our maintenance stuff out of Zendesk. We're wanting to convert to AppFolio. I thought they had everything kind of ready to go, and then when I got ready to make the switch, I found out they had changed how they do things, and so one key part that we needed they had, and then another key part that we needed had disappeared in some of the changes they made. So anyway, that's on hold, but I am keeping it here in case that kind of comes back into play. The next section is my personal section. This has not changed. Just kind of the random to-do list, and then a couple of project pages. The next section is my list section. Again, hasn't changed. Things might be in a different order. This I need to update. I've taken it out, then I put it back in again because I need to update it. All right, goal setting section. You'll notice these pages are actually new. Since I'm not putting names on the tabs, I figured this way if I flip to a section, I know immediately what it is. So the goal setting section, this is how I have it set up at the moment. So I have my annual overview, and for those who have watched my videos before, yes, I reprinted the finalized version of the project inserts, and you'll actually see the monthly inserts as well. I was using kind of a work in progress sort of a version, and I like the new version, so I printed them out and I'm using them now. So I have my annual goals here, the quarterly objectives. I have my quarter 4, which I actually need to transfer. I did my November work on this page, and so I actually need to transfer that back over to here, but I'll do that off camera. So I have kind of what my quarter is looking like, minus the November monthly objectives. October is wrapping up. There's a few things down here because there's an overlap in that week. And then this is what November is looking like. So this information is also loosely based on work that I did here in my Power Sheets. So I did the Let It Go section, the Prepare Well section. You'll notice I'm only home 10 days in November. So this is going to be a really crazy month for me. So that would be why my top priority for November is self-care, because I know that if I don't take care of myself, I get burnt out and then I get a negative attitude and I'm not fun to be around. So I just kind of brainstormed things I needed to do. Some of it makes an appearance in some form or fashion on the tending list. So I have my monthly action items. Weekly action items, compared to last month, I've taken a few things out. Decluttering, I'm home 10 days. Like, that's not going to be a main focus of mine. And then grocery shopping and meal prep, 10 days home. I will probably only have 1 week of honest to goodness actual grocery shopping that I need to do. So it's not worth it for me to put it there. The two things I do want to make sure that I'm doing, daily quiet time and prayer, and then when I am home, making sure that I keep my house picked up so that I don't come home to a giant mess. So those are kind of my top priorities. So in some form or fashion, those show up here under monthly objectives, plus a few extra things that are a little more detailed. And I generally fill out the weeks as I go. The only thing I did note is when I have to do payroll, because that's important. So then the next section, I went ahead and pulled the weeks out, and I haven't filled out this week. I forgot to do that. But again, off camera, I'll do that. The important thing to know is I went ahead and pulled the weeks into their own section. Calendar is next. These are all of my monthly pages. So October, November, December, I just left as the old version. The main difference being that, let me flip to January. The master task list is the first page that you see. Before I had them reversed, and I didn't like that. 1, this tells you what month it is, and 2, This is something I do after the fact. This is more important ahead of time. So I've gone through and transferred everything over. And yes, scarily enough, I do have stuff in December. But anyway, so the next section after that is my daily pages. These you've seen before if you've watched any of my videos. Just so you have a blank idea of what the blank ones look like. There's a daily task list, a schedule. I have these also in my Etsy store. So the time that's covered depends on the size that you choose. I think at the shortest page it's 6 to 6, but I've left a blank above and a blank below so that way you can add some stuff in. And then on the right side I have the daily notes page. So after that section, then I have my travel plans. I do have 2 trips, so I've printed out inserts. These are also in my Etsy store. I've made myself a minimal version. The one that's in the Etsy store actually has some like detailed day-by-day information, so you can keep track of where you're staying, what's going on that day. I use those if I'm doing a lot of traveling, or I mean like moving from place to place, or if I am going to some sort of a conference where I want to keep track of the things that I need to do each day. Both of these trips are not those sorts of trips, so I basically took those pages out. So I have destination information, flight information, packing list, a blank page for things not included here, a pre-trip checklist, blank page for things not included here, post-trip checklist. So those are kind of my bare minimum essentials. The other page that's not included in this but is in the travel section is I have a spot for expenses. So if you're traveling for business and you want to track expenses, you can do that. This last section is notes. So this is basically just blank paper that I can grab and put in my planner somewhere. This is probably the only deco-ish thing that I have left in here. So I have 2 different colors of sticky notes. These are from cloth and paper. I do have another color, it might be cotton, no, cotton dusk. Anyway, I just got my subscription box. I have not pulled everything out of it yet, but I have a 3rd set that I'm going to stick here. And this you've seen probably here and here in the other planner. I've kind of moved it around trying to paper clip it someplace it's in the way. And then I remembered it fits in here. So yeah, I put it in there. In here, like I said, this is a custom version of this planner. So this isn't something you usually get in the Touch Me line. But I have a secretarial pocket and a slip pocket here. The slip pocket, I'm just keeping some stickers that I used to have tucked into, let's see, a secretarial pocket from Foxy Fix that I pulled out because these are fairly thick, and again, I need the room. In the back here, I have some extra weekly compass cards, some stickers. I have to be careful what I show off of this. I have some note paper that has some notes on it that are not things that I probably should share because they're prayer requests. And yeah, so I just have some random stuff tucked back in here. This one does have a big back pocket. I have a piece of paper in there that I need to do something with that I'm procrastinating. Yes, I do that. So anyway, and then up here in the front, I got a bunch of these blank, like clear plastic ID cards, and I stuck a little tiny pad of sticky notes in here. So because they're credit card size, it slides really nice right into the credit card pocket. Now when I bought this, I did get a wallet with it. I'm not using the wallet currently because I have a bigger wallet that I'm using. However, I am keeping it tucked in here mainly because I am using the extra pen loop for a mild liner, for a gray mild liner. So that way I have each of those with me. So that is what my current planner is set up is right now, including the work I've done on my power sheets for the month of November. I am supposed to be getting the 2020 ones. They're coming back from Dallas with my husband because I had them shipped there, and they arrived after I left. So I'm excited to start working on those, and I'll probably do some goal setting with me sorts of videos as opposed to a plan with me. So that way you can kind of see what work I'm doing in there and kind of what 2020 is looking like. So I think that's everything. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Again, travel inserts, goal setting inserts, daily inserts, monthly inserts, the reference ones, those are all available in my Etsy store, and that link is down below if you're interested in any of those. And I mentioned in my last video too, depending on what it is, I do sometimes do custom orders or do custom modifications to existing, which is usually more of what I get. They like an insert I already have, they want something changed slightly. So anyway, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, I appreciate it. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye!